The sun peeked over the hills of Cana, casting gold across the olive trees and dusty roads. The town stirred gently, vendors setting up fruit stands, children chasing goats, women drawing water from a well. A wedding day had come, and in Galilee, such a day was sacred. Inside the modest home, Mary folded a shawl with care. She smoothed the cloth with reverence, as though preparing it for something far greater than tradition. Her hands were calloused from work, but her eyes were filled with something deeper. Expectation, a knowing. Her son, Jesus, stood beside her, arranging dates into a clay bowl. He moved with the quiet precision of a man who sees time differently. He didn't rush. He didn't stall. He simply was present, deliberate, calm. Mary looked at him. He returned the gaze. There was no need for words. Outside, the musicians began tuning their flutes and lutes. Laughter rose like incense from the gathering guests. The groom's family bustled about, proud and anxious. They had spared no expense. This wedding, this covenant, had to be perfect. The crowd thickened. Neighbors arrived, dressed in linens and bright sashes. The air buzzed with joy. In the center of it all, the bride sat beneath a canopy of white cloth, her hands trembling with nerves. The groom adjusted his robe, whispering thanks under his breath for everything going right. But not everything was going right. In a shaded corner, the head servant approached the master of the feast, his brow soaked with sweat. His whisper was urgent, tight with panic. "We're out. The wine's gone." The master of the feast went pale. "Already? Too many guests," the servant replied. "It won't last another hour." The music continued, but a storm now brewed beneath the surface. Running out of wine wasn't just embarrassing. It was a cultural disgrace, a sign of poor planning, a shadow over a joyful covenant. Mary, watching commotion from across the courtyard, caught the shift in energy. Her eyes sharpened. Without a word, she made her way to her son. He stood alone, hand behind his back, eyes fixed on nothing in particular, but seeing everything. "They have no more wine," Mary said gently. Jesus didn't move. "Woman," he said, "why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." But Mary had already turned, not in defiance, but in faith. She approached the servants and whispered with quiet force, "Do whatever he tells you." 6 massive stone jars stood near the entrance, used for ceremonial washing, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus stepped forward, resting his hand on the cool stone of one jar. His voice was soft, but it cut through the noise like thunder. "Fill them with water." The servants hesitated, unsure, but something in his presence demanded obedience. One by one, they fetched water, pitcher after pitcher, until the jars brimmed at the top. The courtyard remained unaware. Guests laughed. Children danced. But something ancient stirred in the air. The hush before a tide turns. Jesus nodded. "Now, draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." A servant dipped a ladle into the jar and poured the liquid into a goblet. He paused. It no longer looked like water. It shimmered darker, richer. His hands trembled as he offered it to the master of the feast. The man drank. His eyes widened. His mouth opened. He turned to the groom, stunned. "Everyone brings out the choice wine first," he declared, voice booming, "and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much. But you have saved the best until now." A gasp moved through the crowd like wind through trees. Laughter returned, stronger this time. Joy renewed. The wine was not just good, it was divine. Mary stood back, watching her son. Their eyes met across the courtyard. He gave the faintest nod. She understood. This wasn't just about wine. It was the beginning, a ripple that would one day become a flood. Few knew what had happened. Fewer still grasped who had done it. But those who saw believed. And the sun above Cana shone a little warmer, because glory had just whispered its first word.